Okay, I'm going to take you now up Jaramillo, where you will see one of the more unmaintained roads. The road is only 3 years old, but like so many other things, built poorly and not maintained, but a whole lot better than it was when I first arrived here, when it was unpaved. You're going to get a view of a lot of different types of living, and who knows who on the road. As you can see, as it leaves town, it's both steep in its ascent and gets very narrow at places, and is actually a very dangerous road, particularly during the day. I find it a much safer road at night because at least you can see the oncoming headlights. We're starting to ascend. And you'll notice there's more than one place where you need to dodge. As the road's fallen away and you can't be too far over toward the cliffside. And this road rides a cliff almost all the way up. From this point, you'll notice a whole lot of areas of repaired road where it started sliding away, and the idea of repair was to dump some blacktop on top of it so it'll slide faster as it gets wet again. I suspect this road will be closed within another year or so. It's going to have too much of it having slid away. It does have some views. We've come up quite a bit. From here you can see Alto Boquete, which we did not drive through. Alto Boquete is where a lot of people moved after some of the flooding here years ago. Bus stop. Now, it doesn't take long for us to be very rural. You look, the power lines are on the left. They go up most of the way on this side. And now you'll see we're squeezed to one lane because the road slid off here. And a house built literally on air. Watch them build that house. It has steel girders sunk into the ground below because it is not on ground. It is totally based upon girders. Getting a nice view of Jaramillo going up. Just put this wall in to try to prevent their house from sliding to the road. And that's part of the problem here, is the geology of Panama is young. Our mountains are mud, and if you don't build well and you don't build deep, you may have a problem when we have a combination of very wet soil and tremors. We do get a lot of very small earthquakes here, most of them in the Pacific, off the Costa Rican border. See here, this is sort of a semi-village. There's actually, well, there used to be a little kiosco. Looks like they've closed. The kioscos are very indicative of Panama. They are very small little stores wherever there's a collection of people living. somebody opens up a business to sell small quantities of rice, beans, canned goods, just for families who either can't or don't feel like moving into town to do their shopping. This crossroad here, this road, it heads off toward two other roads that go up Jaramillo also. And for the next little bit, this road is actually pretty good. It has its curves, but it's full width. That'll change. See a huge variety of houses here, from indigenous houses which are little more than ramshackle shacks to poorer Panamanian houses that are usually block. You get a good view across to the other side of Jaramillo there. You notice the drainage on the side of the road. That's pretty much a standard type of drainage for all roads here, is a V-shaped concrete channel. Bananas in front of you. Clear sailing right here. More bananas. That big blue tank is new. That's for potable water from a new aqueduct that was put in. Cost $114,000 in World Bank money to get us a new potable water supply up here for the Jaramillo area. And since I'm involved with that as being on the water board, I was much too involved in all the problems we ran into getting that done. And this little piece of road here is sliding away, but as a whole piece. And get a nice little view across again here. Little landslide. Haven't cleaned that up in a week. It's not blocking the road. Eventually, they'll bring up a backhoe and clear it. We're steadily climbing. This total climb will be about 300 meters, 1,000 feet or so from the valley to where we are. I'm going to peek out up on top here. And we have another little bridgelet. Narrow enough for one car. And after here, we have more road problems. This little area here where the road slid away, 3 years ago, but no one's ever fixed it, so the trees are growing in that now. And we have one more coming up here. Where I like to beep because it's totally blind. And we're getting up toward the top now. We're going to see some place called Cabinas, El Mirador, where they rent out cabins in just a little bit. They're building a new building. And on the left side, if the camera picks it up, some very nice big homes built by some expats very recently. You'll see a lot people walk with umbrellas here. They have both parasols for the sun and paraguas for the rain. And there's, I think you probably pick up that one large house on the left. That's a Canadian couple. And on the right here is an estate from several American families. And we're going to come up on the little hamlet of Alto Jaramillo, and I'm going to turn left up here. You can just get an idea of what a little town is. And right in front of us here is the school, which is mostly indigenous. There's a church to the right, and there are houses. This to the right is the one little restaurant and bar, which is open mostly on weekends. And I'm going to turn around right here. If we went up to the right, we'd go up to La India, little kiosco here. But we're not going to go to La India. That's where the water comes from. Right in front of us used to be a pizza place, and not anymore. And very quiet here today. Usually there are a bunch of people out and about, but I think they must be all in Boquete. So you've had your rural tour of the day of Jaramillo.